Go ahead. Okay, so we are now standing between Ridgeway and Telluride. Many years ago, my mother brought me here. This is now owned by Ralph Lauren. This is the Double R Ranch. But this little house behind me was owned by Marie Scott. And Marie Scott and her family settled this whole valley way back in the Wild West days. My mother brought me to this little house right here. Marie Scott was in there. She was in these blue jeans, and she had no way to talk like that. She said, them there my mountains, she said. She was pointing over there. Now look over there. So she's pointing at those mountains. So my mother says, what do you mean they're your mountains? You mean you like looking at them? She goes, well, yeah, I like looking at them. I had this picture window. I took the whole wall out, had the picture window so I could look at my mountains. And she said, well, what do you mean your mountains? She goes, they're my mountains. She goes, I own those mountains. So their land stretched all the way to those mountains from here. This whole valley, you can see right there, it says Double R Ranch. So here's the sad part of the story. The family inherited all of this, couldn't afford the inheritance taxes that we had back then. So there were huge inheritance taxes. So when you inherited the family farm or ranch in this case, you had to give like half to the government, and they couldn't afford it, so this was all sold off. Ralph Lauren bought it. That's why you see the double RL over there. Part of the story. But the great part is she was just such this amazing character, and my mother was so taken with her. Oh, I remember what she said. She says, "Do you have some land of him?" And she said, "Yeah, we have a little place down here out, a little up on the Highway 23. She said, "Well, how much land you got?" And my mother said, like a half an acre. She goes, "That ain't no land. No, you got to have land. Not half acre ain't no land." She was lecturing my mother. That's not land. This is land. That half an acre ain't land. My mother was like, I understand. So half acre doesn't qualify on any level. You couldn't even put the barn on there, so. Okay.
You know what your mom used to do, her version of her.
Oh, sure.
And it was fantastic. When your mom would do impressions of people,
right on the
her whole face, actually everybody that does impressions, their face changes into...
Well, anybody does the underbite. Now, you know who else had that underbite like that? Was Barry Fitzgerald. He overbite. Barry, what did he say?
No, it was an underbite.
He talked like that.
Yeah.
She did him too, so that helped her do Marie Scott so perfectly. But she though had no teeth.
Right.
So it was
Right. It's so funny. That was interesting to me because I've been to Telluride so many times. Way before I met you, I used to go skiing there.
Mountains
Yeah, they're beautiful, and Telluride is an awesome place, and it's one of those things where I would drive by Ralph Lauren's land, and it just went on and on for miles.
Well, what year was? Because he didn't really get it. I think it was like even in the 80s, maybe.
Yeah, with the 90s, 2000s.
Once you're in the 2000s, he's got it.
Yeah, I remember
this
it.
This was lost, when she passed away. But anyway, I'll just tell you this. We're doing something right on the 18th. They're opening the cowboy exhibit at the Ronald Reagan Library. And they're honoring great Western characters and important people in Western history besides Ronald Reagan.
Mm-hmm.
And but they're not, like this lady was the largest landowner in the United States. That's a big deal.
We have to do a live from the Reagan Library then.
We do have to do
because
that.
that's going to be a really neat exhibition. Absolutely.
All right, so I was on the way. So that was, I'm driving down that road that's on the way towards Debbie's Meadow. So what's our next video that you have in our sequence? He says.
Sorry, I was reading questions. Someone was asking where your mom's property was in Colorado.
Okay, so it was between Ouray and Ridgeway on Highway, I think I just mentioned Highway 23, which was the old railroad tracks. My microphone is on.
Okay.
It is on, but it looks like it's low all of a sudden again. Here we go with more problems.
That's okay. People are just, somebody just mentioned it.
We can't have all these problems if we're going to tell stories.
Show the folks at home how it's done. I can't get rid of the Kyle,
It's just one of those nights.
I'm
It's
just
gonna
going to
be endless
close
problems.
this. Close poll. There, I can see things. All
One,
right. So,
two.
so for those of you who are saying, "Oh, I wish that I could come to Vegas," I really hope we get to come to Vegas next year. Instead of doing a cruise, Ryan and I have already been imagineering
One.
what we're going to do instead, because the cruise was great, but it was. People had to take a whole week off, and it was not easy for us to all find each other. I didn't. We, in the end, felt that we could do more one-on-one, kind of intimate time. So we're going to do it here at the property. You'll be able to see the museum. You will be able to. We'll have all kinds of things to do for the weekend. We'll have a party Friday night. I'll do a show after dinner. We will have a ball. So that is what we have been imagineering, and now Ryan and I are doing that. So we'll let you know as we get those details flushed out. But I think that is going to be great because you can get to see everything, and we get to see you. So there you go. Are we ready to go?
Whenever you're done with that story. I don't want to interrupt that story.
You have the floor. Go
I
ahead.
have the floor.
Yes.
Well, what we're going to show you right now, they asked about the house. There's the house.
That's your
That was
grandparents.
it was my mother's house.
Yeah.
That was shot in the wintertime. In fact, this picture was actually taken by Miguel. He was up there with me skiing, and we would visit. But you could see the reflection in the glass. It had this amazing view up the canyon, up into Uray.
I've seen this house.
But looking the other way was towards Ridgeway, which is kind of where Debbie's Meadow and all is. So it's just a few miles, though, from all of these things. We all went up there. Carrie, everybody spent time there in the summer. My grandparents spent the entire summer. They lived in Palm Springs, but they would go up there for their summers because it was too hot in Palm Springs. And we would all visit. And I'm the only one that would go up there in the wintertime because I was the only one that skied. But the summers, though, everybody went up, especially for 4th of July. It was a blast. So, having said that, our next sequence... we're going right into How the West Is Won. So here's the thing. We would never have been up in that valley if it wasn't for How the West Won. That was the beginning of my mother getting introduced to it and the whole thing. So we're going to start off with me going up to Debbie's Meadow, and off we go. I think you guys are going to really like this segment. That's the valley. Driving up way in the distance, you can see Chimney Rock just about now, 12 o'clock. Way in the distance. This is the view as you're driving up there, looking back down towards Ridgeway. And it's a spectacular country, very much like Big Sky. You're very close to the clouds. You're probably 8,000-9,000
So
feet.
years ago, before this bridge was added, you're going to see those pictures of my green Range Rover crossing over this exact same spot right here, and you had to drive through pretty rugged terrain. And of course, this river fills up in the spring, and it's the only way in the old days that you could carry on up to Debbie's Meadow and up to where that was done. So you needed heavy off-road vehicles to pull this off. Today, anybody can drive up here.
Now this is Debbie's Meadow. That's Chimney Rock right there, which has been the subject of many movies, but in particular the Henry Hathaway films. He went up there all the time. And it got named after my mom because she was a pretty big star in those days. And that little stand of aspen trees right there is the area where we're filmed a lot. But you're going to start to see segments from this spot. Mm-hmm. Quite a spectacular.
It's so
I went
beautiful.
around twice there.
So
really,
beautiful.
really beautiful. Here we go.
It's a beautiful location. Now, the home movies that we're going to cut to, of Carrie and I out in this field over here. So if we go over here, we don't have to go all the way out there. But we were as much of the crew was stationed back over here at the tree line, and there were a lot of people here. And so there's a bunch of shots, which you're seeing right now, of Carrie and I with our mom, and my grandmother is filming. And there are some shots of my mom when she's not in it, and that's her filming. But that was filmed right here in this very meadow, just about, 62 years ago. Could that be? Yeah. Okay. So, and it's all still the same. It's pretty cool. And I did call my mom many years ago when cell phone reception, believe it or not, actually works up here not real well. But I called her and I thanked her for bringing Carrie and I to places like this on location with her, schlepping us around. You know that can't be that much fun. But I guess it was for her. And otherwise we would never have seen this. And so many of my friends, you know, were left home. And Carrie and I had the privilege of being involved with epic films. Okay, so we are here in Ridgway, Colorado, above Ridgway, and we are up in Debbie's Meadow. You can see the lights changing as the clouds roll by as the song goes, but behind me is Chimney Rock, the very famous Chimney Rock, and Henry Hathaway chose this location for one particular scene with my mother and Robert Preston, right here. This is where Robert Preston proposes to my mother.
Aggie, for lunch.
Thanks. Nice mess of fish. What is it, Mr. Morgan?
Miss Prescott, I've been thinking.
Oh?
Wet or dry, you're the handsomest woman I ever did see. Spirit and a fine, sturdy body. It's a noble combination, Miss Prescott. Why, for you, childbearing had come as easy as rolling off a log.
Well, I think I'd rather roll off a log, Mr. Morgan.
So it was a cute little scene, took place right here. Just kind of look that way. I'll walk over here. It was just, I guess they were getting water. In fact, I think she's standing in the water. In fact, now that I think about it, I actually have the picture. Yep, I do have it. Okay, so here's the picture of my mom. And of course, we'll cut away to this. But you're standing like right there with that little group of trees right there, right in this water, right here. Just like that. And then just off, you can just start to see the mountains off to our left. There's a wagon train, covered wagon parked right there. Kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
To visit all
I
that.
could hear you huffing and puffing because of that
Well,
altitude.
that's 9 to 10.
Yeah, 9 to 10,000 feet is no joke.
And
yeah.
What happened is my crew consisted of Buck Nolly and myself. So what you didn't see yet is the sequence where the True Grit sequence, and you'll see the cameras, the bigger cameras that we are carrying. This was all just shot with a small sort of documentary style camera, so it was fun. But I will say that it's very nostalgic for me every time I go there. Serious flashback, but it's also a tribute, to my mother and her balancing of raising Carrie and I the way she wanted to raise us, even in the face of big studio requirements. Nobody else had their kids running around the back lots and on these locations. So I'm not sure. I mean, she was a big enough star where she could pull it off, but I mean, it was also just like a given. Like if you wanted her to do this, then you were going to tolerate this. So you got to give her a lot of credit for all of that. And that whole area there has always had a very special place in my memories, and I love to go back and revisit them all the time. Yeah. This time with you guys. So the next thing that happened up there was really a trip.
You know what makes me happy, just before you do this? What makes me happy is there's no condos built on this beautiful land, that this land has not been touched, that you're showing scenes from 60 plus years ago, and you come back to it and it's exactly the same. And is there any danger of that land ever becoming urban or?
Well, I suspect everything's at risk, but getting electricity up there is a challenge.
Oh, yeah.
As well as other utilities. So it's not likely. It's way up there. It takes a good hour, if you know what you're doing, less, but you can't drive quickly. You end up in a ditch.
So when people live up there at nearly 10,000 feet altitude, do they just get used to it?
Well,
or?
sure. Now, Telluride's Mountain Village is over 9,000 feet. That's
Oh, I
pretty
know.
much,
I'm on the
about
canned
highest.
oxygen there.
That's like the highest elevation that anybody's really living at. And I don't really think, to be honest, that's a super practical elevation. There's no danger, by the way. I mean, you can do well all the way up. I mean, by law, like in an airplane, you don't have to wear oxygen until you're beyond 13,000 feet. So, if 9,000, I did a little demonstration. We didn't run the buck thing, did I? Okay, I have a funny thing I shot with Buck. So Buck and I were, so we were driving over the mountain between, on the last dollar road between Telluride and Ridgeway, and we were way up, 10,000 plus. And I started telling Buck the story about how people come up here, that are in great shape, and they all say, well, they could handle this, no problem. Then, they try to do the most menial task, climb up a hill 20 feet, and they're puking.
Yeah.
And he was like, ah. So I stopped the car, he got out, and he went down the hill and tried to come back up. Got about 10 steps and shut down.
Oh, I know.
He didn't throw up. It's pretty funny because Buck's in really good shape. So to see him, he's like, I can't move.
No, it's no joke.
It
That's
gets
why
you.
they sell the canned oxygen up there, because people get up there and they don't realize it, and they're having headaches and lightheaded, and that air is thin.
See, I don't have a problem up there, but the oxygen certainly can mitigate a lot of that. Hey, there was something I thought of when we were watching that sequence. You noticed all those aspen trees around that whole location I'm in? So I always found this to be a really interesting factoid.
Okay.
What is the largest living thing on Earth? Somebody says.
Well, you got to give us a hint, like
no
animal,
hints, blue
mineral,
whale.
vegetable.
No, living thing. I
Living
don't care.
thing,
It could be
okay.
anything. Anything alive. A blue whale is alive. Anything, the oldest, largest living thing on Earth.
Is there a prize for this answer, or?
No. Just
Okay.
pride is the pride. You get to
I didn't
say,
know whether I should
did
jump
anybody
into
guess?
this.
Would it be some kind of a tree?
That's what I was.
Well, so the redwood trees, the bristlecone pines are 10,000 years old. They are like the oldest single living thing, but the largest and oldest is our aspen groves. Because when you see a bunch of aspen trees, sometimes they stretch even for, I don't know, half a mile. That's one organism. So it starts with one tree, and the popular trees spread like that. So when they shoot out a root, a tree comes out, a root, a tree comes out. And it just keeps going on for hundreds of years. And pretty soon they have these vast spread out areas. So it's the oldest when you consider some of those. Now they die. Like the trees that you saw during How the West won, some of those aspens are not there. But those are all the children of. I mean, they have legacy trees. So generations of little trees are there as the parents grew them before. It's all part of that same organism. Just a little factoid.
Someone had a question
Yeah.
about, if you can recall, your mom, how did she deal with that oxygen during filming?
So back in the day, my mother was in really good shape, but they did carry oxygen in the crew. Because crews were schlepping around cameras like behind me. Now this, of course, if you remember, I don't know if you have a picture of it or not, but this was shot in Cinerama. And the camera was certainly every bit as big and even heavier than that in some respects. And those cameras are extremely heavy. I'll cut to I'll let you see it for those of you who are interested. That's the camera. And it's a good 4 feet tall and probably weighs 150 plus pounds. It's really 3 cameras in one. But I own that camera that was used. There were 5 cameras used on Cinerama films, but I own one of the Cinerama cameras. And this is a good idea. Yeah, this is a good picture here. This shows some of the hassles involved in making. Now, there's an example of the camera on the crane, big megaphone there, because they're yelling across the river, all right, get the wagon trains rolling. And they're going to come across the river there. And you'll notice on the left, there's big, large carbon arc lights. But that's an idea of how many people it took just to shoot
a scene with just bringing the wagons across. Like today, you would not need necessarily that, but a lot of the people that are safety people and, you got makeup people and wardrobe people. Imagine just 20 wagon trains. You got to have wranglers. You got to have people that know how to dress these wagon trains authentically. I mean, how do you equip them authentically? Then you have to dress people. Then you have to have all the extras, and they have to be fed. I mean, it's just logistics get to be crazy, and that's why I showed you in the earlier video. They were using big, giant military vehicles. These what was called a deuce and a half, which is a 6-wheel drive truck, which would take across the river and bring the equipment up. And then those guys had to schlep. So the answer is auction was available back in those days too. People who were lifting heavy equipment and setting stuff up really needed it. But even that scene you saw where they were whipping the horses and trying to get them out of the mud, yeah, I'm sure everybody was using up a lot of energy. But it can get to certain people more than others. And if you're overweight, you're really in trouble. So anyway, having said that, we're going to go, which one are we doing next?
True Grit.
Well, before I go to True Grit, let me show this picture here. So right over here, you see I have my mother's script from How the West Was Won, if you could see that.
Yep.
And next to it, I have one of my favorite pictures is Henry Hathaway and my mother. And Henry Hathaway, if you talk to most actors, had everybody scared to death. They would say he was a tyrant. Everybody was afraid of him, petrified. And that's why this picture is so important, because my mother figured out it was kind of like, it was kind of like the military where the sergeant is yelling at you, and this is like what was happening. And once she figured that out, you could see what happened here. I mean, look, you can see how she's. You see how she's.
Well, he did. Did he want her for this role originally?
No, that was Chuck Walters for Molly Brown.
Oh,
no,
okay.
he did.
Right.
He changed the whole movie for my mother. That's how much they became
Wow.
friends. I'll walk up to this camera so you can get a closer.
That was her whole thing.
Oh yeah, to get him to back off. But that was a showbiz thing. But you could see how much they became really good friends. And this director, was one of the all-time great Western directors. He wasn't just How the West Was Won, and True Grit and all the rest. He did many Westerns. And I've seen at least one other movie that was shot up in Debbie's Meadow. Having said that, you have a question? Go ahead.
Someone was asking were there any people that were hurt or any casualties for How the West
Yeah,
Was
so
Won?
my mother, now of course I don't remember this because I didn't see it. But there was one death that I'm aware of, and the train wreck scene, one of the stuntmen got smashed between the train cars and was maimed for life, lost body parts.
Oof.
So this is a time in movie making where, things were damaged and killed and whatnot. If you bought a horse and you wanted to, you could kill it and there would be nobody there to say.
Oh,
Yeah.
that changed though.
Yeah, I know, in a good way. But I mean, I didn't see any of this when I was growing up, but I know that was the case. These were, rules that came later through consciousness. This book here, has the whole story in it, the script and everything, and it also includes so many incredible stills, but it also has all the changes in different colors that were made, and it has a lot of the pictures. There they are in the meadow that we were just talking about. So, preserving this history, for me is important. Some people, there's more wagon train stuff. So this was a great script binding company in the day. My mom would go to them all the time and hand them the stills and the script, and they would do this beautiful job preserving that script. So How the West Was Won, though, and Henry Hathaway, my mother, they were way over budget and way over time, and they didn't have the money, and they actually came back to my mother, and they were like, Debbie, we need you for like another 3 months on this thing, or some huge amount of time, and but we don't have any money. And she said, all right, well, I'll trade you. We were married to Harry Carl, so we have all the money in the world, right?
Yeah.
At least so we thought.
Yes.
As they say in the Roman chariot, while holding the crown over his head, all glory is fleeting. And they're talking about riches as well, because that is exactly where we were at. We had no idea what we were going in for, but she said, I will do it for free if you build me a projection room on my house, and I have access to the MGM library, film library, and a projectionist in perpetuity. Now, I found the contracts for this, but I also found something else. And by the way, Warner Brothers, watch out for me on this one. I found out Debbie owns 10% of the gross of the music rights to the MGM film. I just found this in a contract the other day.
When? The other day?
To How the West Was Won's soundtrack, because it wasn't a musical. And then Debbie threw in these songs, and they started using her ability to sing. But then the fact that they wanted to extend, somehow that became part of the negotiation. And we own the gross of the music rights to this movie. It's possible they could be seriously in debt to me. And they owe me a lot of frickin' movie runs in my projection room.
Between that and they find if they ever get the gingham dress, like sorted out.
Well, we
found
a picture of my mother with that missing dress, so we'll see.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so I tell that story only to say that Henry Hathaway was probably so John Ford, everybody knows he's like the big Western director, but Henry Hathaway was right up there with John Ford, in my opinion. And they both, made movies with John Wayne, the big stuff, and John Ford early in Wayne's career, but Henry Hathaway directed him in True Grit. And True Grit, I think, is one of the greatest John Wayne movies ever. I just love it. And he did win the Academy Award finally after 200 frickin' movies. They just didn't take him seriously until this movie. So having said that, that was shot in Debbie's Meadow also. Weirdly enough, Henry Hathaway 4 years later went back up there to shoot it. So now I'm going to talk about that film in the Meadow, and something wild happens while I'm there. And no, I didn't have a ghost meter with me.
No, I had it with me.
She had the ghost meter. Okay. Hit it. So this is the beginning of the movie, True Grit. And that little ranch has been restored fully. You see that picture, Kat? I only had a picture from the other side of the road, but you're going to see that ranch as I drive down towards it. They did a beautiful job of restoring, for the most part, exactly the way it looks in these images right here. So there is the ranch. You can see that little barn in the distance. I'm driving up on it right now.
That's your footage. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I shot this just to show it, but that's the little sign that they put on the fence there just to show that they had restored it with loving care. And that takes a certain level of consciousness to set aside a piece of property like this and really make sure that it's maintained. There's a close-up of the ranch there from the clip. As we're coming up on it. So I thought that was kind of cool. Now that's just one segment. That's from the opening segment of the movie. And of course that is actually between Telluride. This is also the scene where John Wayne is like over here and the bad guys are down this way. And he rides across this meadow with this beautiful backdrop. Right, that's literally the highway, if you want to call it, right there where I am. That's where I'm standing, right there. Now there's our Blackmagic designed cinema camera, and we're filming the valley in very high resolution, in this case 12K resolution footage, shooting Debbie's Meadow. We were waiting for the lighting. You can see just now the lights are hitting Chimney Rock. I'm up in the high country. There's Debbie's Meadow. And this guy drives up in this little SUV right here. And introduce yourself.
My name is Condi Sluga, and I was the little baby at the very beginning of the movie True Grit. She was holding me on the porch, and all you see is my yellow hair waving in the wind. And I was 5 months old, and I was in the movie. My mom was an extra in the hanging scene. And we're just up here. And you've come back to visit your old stomping ground. Yes, yes.
Did he live in Colorado?
You're not going to get out even and look at Chimney Rock?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Well, we'll be around. We're going to film, so come see us.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Good to meet you guys.
Good meeting you. I can show you the ticket, the pay stub if you don't believe me.
He brought it with him. Okay, the True Grit Cafe is a cool place. Been coming here for a long time. I'll show you a still picture of me here with Marty Spicer and John Napa. We were all up here writing, and just a few years ago, roughly about 47 years ago, something like that. Anyway, this was the actual restaurant where the people used to hang out a lot during How the West Won, but then later, John Wayne, during the filming of True Grit, would hang out here. We're only a few miles away from Debbie's Meadow, which is just up the hill, so we're in Ridgeway. You can see this town is cute as it can be. Pan around a little bit. But we'll drive you around the town, but all the buildings are sort of maintaining this old Western style. Let's go on in. Now you see, there's the wall where that picture was taken. Right there. So they used to have, this is where the music used to be. You'll see that picture when we did that. Let's have some more. So we'll stop here. There's all kinds of stuff in here. You see they've got posters. We just ate earlier in the True Grit Cafe, and I had the chili, what they call the red chili. It had whole pinto beans and ground beef. Very good. I also had a salad that was like the Ridgeway salad. It was like a Cobb salad. It was good, nothing special. Buck, though, on the other hand, had the brisket macaroni and cheese. He said it was off the charts. So that he gave that like a, what would you say? 1 to 10. 12 and a 10-point scale, but he exaggerates, so we'll just give it a 10. But I have had other things here. It is good food, so this is definitely a worthwhile experience. And the store next door, let's go in there for a minute. Let's go in there. Here we go. Timber Creek says we're open. Timber Creek, yeah, they're open late. Now I walked in here earlier and I called Kat, and she wasn't here. So I did a little live streaming. This is her kind of place. So we're going to give you a quick review on that. Okay, we've come back to film you.
Hey guys.
We've come back to film you because we want you to talk about your store.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's a lot of cute stuff in here. And there's more upstairs. We didn't even go up there. I mean, this is kind of cool. I'm no expert, you know, but I know the kind of stuff Kat likes. I think she would really like, see this? This is like a no-brainer, man. I should just buy this. Look at this. I was thinking about this piece. Oh, you see, I'm gonna buy this. I'm gonna have her try it on. But this is a no-brainer. She's gonna love that. I'm not even gonna tell her. We're just gonna go for it. Crazy.
Patsy Cline, my favorite.
I want you to try, but I'm 90%. This is money.
Let me get in the light.
Yeah. No, I love it. That's it. We'll take that.
Okay.
Simple enough. Do me, hey, Buck.
Yeah.
I did leave my wallet on the seat. Could you tell me about you and your shop?
Hi, I am Shannon, and I am with Timber Creek, and we are a Western lifestyle store. And I don't know, our menagerie changes.
You have
all
great
the time.
merchandise. Who does the buying?
Rob Rose, and Rob actually is an ordained priest. He is priesting, I guess that's what you call it, at the Episcopal Church in Uray and also up in Telluride.
And he does your buying.
He does all the buying, and I do all the decorating.
Well,
yeah.
you both are fantastic.
Thank you.
So if you're in Ridgeway, this is the place, the Timber Creek
Well,
Mercantile.
Yep, we're 7 days a week.
7 days a week. We thought they might be closed, but no, they're open because they knew that we were on our way. See ya. Okay, stand
All
up.
right, so I am the happy recipient of this beautiful jacket. Spin, all right. It's such a great jacket. And you know what I love about this jacket is A, that you bought it for me and thought of me for it, but also it just, you know, you can dress it up, and I wore it with a pair of jeans and it made those get dressed up, and it's just a great piece, and I love black velvet, so you know me very well.
It wasn't just the black velvet, though. I was looking at it. So, those were long rider jackets for riding on horses. Now, that wouldn't have been made for that because the velvet takes it to the sort of the pushy level. They made those out of like a canvasy type of cotton material where it would repel water, and they'd wax them up, and they go out in the heavy weather with it. But it was a riding coat.
No, I
So-
love it. And there's something interesting in here. Brenda Stone made mention of, which I love, which is that Yvonne DiCarlo's husband was the stuntman that was injured on that film.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yes, and we know her son.
We do.
And what's great about that is, well, Yvonne DiCarlo took the part of on the Munsters as Lily on the Munsters, and to help pay for the medical bills because of his injury, because the studio refused to, is what Brenda said. Brenda Stone, thank you for that piece of information. That's really interesting. We do know her son, who's a great guy.
So Lauren was my mother's stuntman. He was on the whole movie. And I actually will make mention of this. How the Wes's one is been remastered, I believe even in 8K, where they take each panel, possibly in 12K. I see it. And but they have some really cool interviews in here, including an interview or commentary while you're watching the movie from Lauren, who was the stuntman up for my mom for many years, not only in this movie, but others. But this is a great thing to have in your collection if you want to have. It's a beautiful picture, and they master the whole movie because it is such a widescreen image. It's very unusual format even by today's standards. In terms of what would be a comparable thing to this, it's like the Sphere is today what this was yesterday. Cinerama Dome was the Sphere of 60s.
It's funny, when I first started my acting career, it was in the 70s, and so I remember the Cinerama Dome.
Wait a minute, how old are you?
I don't. You know exactly how, because I am a couple of years your senior. There you go. The Cougar.
That's
Ooh.
you, I know.
All right. So, but I remember the Cinerama Dome, and I just loved seeing a movie there because it was such a different experience. I have a question. Is it still there?
He's got a picture up. It is still there.
Because I have not been to Los
But
Angeles
he's actually got a
long
picture
time.
of, that's my mother in How the Wes's Won, falling down in the river, obviously. But you see the scuba divers were actually in the water with them. You don't see them in the movie.
Debbie wins the wet T-shirt contest of the century in that picture right there. Look, she looks amazing. Even as drowning, she looks
Switch
incredible.
back to the True Grit one, though. You had a. Oh yeah, you could show that.
Yeah,
so this was the Cinerama Dome.
It's still there, right?
It's still there.
Does it show films there? Because
do.
they only
I've
shot
actually-
how many movies in Cinerama?
Well, it wasn't a matter of that because, as you know, Mike Todd came along later and created a format that gave you that same huge image so you could use the theater. The only thing is you didn't need the triple projection system, which they do have there, because I have gone and spoken, because there's no one is alive. There's only, I think, Russ Tamlin, maybe one other guy, and myself. Carol Baker, but she doesn't go do these speaking things. But there's just nobody really around to talk about what this was like.
Yeah.
So I have gone to the Cinerama Dome several times, ran my home movie footage and talk about what it was like to be on production. And the fact that I have the camera, and I did work on the Cinerama film that is part of this, by the way. No, is that it's part of that. Strohmeyer? Okay, so there's a segment in here, I believe, where they do a whole interview with my mother with our camera and talking about Cinerama. So I think Cinerama is a really important part of our journey getting to where we are today. Now take a look at this shot from True Grit. This is kind of cool. I have to do it myself. Oh yeah, I'm waiting for somebody to do it for me. You notice John Wayne stand there, but you notice to his side there is the BNC camera with a whirl geared head. And if you look right over my shoulder, there is possibly that same camera on a whirl geared head. Certainly the same type of camera. I have 3 of these. Some of them were used on various Westerns and things. It's very possible.
You could look that up because of the serial number on the camera, correct?
Well, you have to get like the camera reports and things, and I haven't really pushed this. I hadn't really thought about it till I saw that. But there they are, exactly in that same spot again, right where we just had me talking about the scene. He went right back to the same shot where we had done the sequence with Robert Preston. Again, there's Jimmy Rock in the background and Debbie's Meadow. Same deal there. It looks to me, interestingly enough, like that's a different camera. I think it is that might even be like a blimped Aeroflex. So the way the way productions would have been done, the BNC camera that you see in the John Wayne picture, the big one like behind me here, that is a sound blimped camera. It's made for the quiet operations. There's a Mitchell standard that's inside of that type of camera that is loud if you don't put it in the housing. And so they would use those cameras outside of the housings as B cameras, but then they also started getting into using Aeroflexes. Arri made a very small 35 millimeter camera. So it's possible that's what's in that housing you just saw there. I don't know, but I could tell you that for that scene, that action scene, there would have had to have been multiple cameras covering that. Do you have something to ask?
Someone said, yes, that the Cinerama Dome, it was Dwayne Shell. Hi, Dwayne. Said that it closed during COVID and hasn't reopened yet. So
I had a feeling I had heard that. Yeah. That's too bad.
I'm sorry to hear
there.
that.
I mean, they're not.
But it's
they're
still
not
there, but it hasn't been open in
demolishing it or
5 or
anything.
6
Yeah,
years.
they just
That's really sad.
need the
Well,
funds.
this is what I was saying, though, about people not really going to theaters as much. I taught a class the other day for UNLV, and when I asked a question of the class, how many people in the class go to the theater to see movies? And everybody in the class actually raised their hand. And I was actually encouraged that maybe there's a younger generation of people that do care enough to want to go into theaters.
I have not seen a movie in a theater until we went to see Force Awakens. I had not seen a movie in a theater since Jaws. That would be 1976. That is, I am not kidding you.
Sure I didn't take you to something
No, I think, no, I don't think so.
besides Force Awakens?
Yeah.
Well, I do go to movies every now and again, not lately, and I do think the pandemic had a devastating effect on people going out. And,
Yeah.
and we have a tendency also to, because you can own these giant screens like you see down here,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not expensive anymore, you can get a pretty good experience at home that you could not otherwise get. If you sit close enough to the screen, it's
Yeah.
obviously like being in those places. The resolutions are getting better, the color's getting better, the contrast is better. Used to be, the only reason why you go to the movie to see these big, huge, great experiences, like why they designed How the West Is Won and Cinerama, was made to motivate you to want to go in. Today, they're serving beer and hot dogs is another way to motivate you to go in.
Oh, there's some theaters that have,
Fine dining.
fine dining, reclining chairs. I mean, when
say
we
whatever.
saw Force, remember when we went on that, when Force Awakens opened, we did 3 states in one day.
I do remember
Do you
that.
remember that? We had to be at 3 different states in one day for the opening of that. And
did LA,
Arizona, and Vegas. Yeah, we did. And it was something else. Just trying to get there in time. It was incredible. That was fun, actually.
Well, the thing is, I encourage you to support the industry if you can, otherwise it will disappear. And the only thing left will be watching movies on your screens at home. I think that would be a sad effect, because there is still something really magical about the giant experience. And that is why the Sphere, Madison Square Gardens, is doing this amazing presentation of The Wizard of Oz at the Sphere. And even though they've edited the movie down a little bit, it's still a fantastic experience. It looks amazing. And overall, it's just a great experience. And this is kind of the natural progression of things to motivate people to go and have an experience. Now, they do charge a lot of money to go see it, but it is beyond a movie experience. I mean, you're getting a simulation of the tornado that's really something else. In fact, when it was over, we all looked at each other like, let's go again. It's literally like a ride. Where do I get in line to go again?
John Eric St. James is asking, wasn't Gregory Peck at one of your birthday parties, and was that after How the West Was Won?
Right. So, yes, that would have been at that time, because my mother didn't really know the Pecks until that time. And at Beverly Park, where the big Beverly Center since to this day, and Cedars-Sinai, there was an amusement park there. And that is where Carrie and I would have our birthday parties a couple of times, and when we were young. And there's a great bit of home movie footage of Gregory Peck with his wife and his children. So I knew Cecilia Peck, who I think is my exact age.
And she is beautiful. I just looked her up the other day on Google. She's a producer.
Well, it makes sense that she would be beautiful because her parents were.
Yeah.
And Gregory Peck's a handsome, tall guy.
Oh,
Didn't
yeah.
you tell me she was like 6 feet tall or something?
Yeah, she's 5'11" or
Which
something.
makes sense because her dad was over 6 feet. Gregory Peck, though, was kind of a stoic guy, you know, but he did have that dry sense of humor, and it really comes out in the movie How the West Was Won. And I think my mother is responsible for bringing that out of him, and I think that's also why Henry Hathaway liked her on the set. That whole scene, Raise a Ruckus Tonight, was invented by my mother, according to her, and she started singing that song and tried to get everybody inspired to not be so gloomy. And I think my mother was kind of like that in life, as it were. So, yeah, Gregory Peck was a very nice man. And I haven't seen Cecilia in like 50 some odd years. Maybe she came to one of Carrie's parties, I would think. Carrie was good at that.
Only thing I remember is it's burned into my memory because it would have been so awesome as a kid to see this. But there's a picture of one of your birthday parties, and there's an elephant there, and he has a thing draped over him, and it says, "Happy birthday,
Oh,
Todd."
he's got a picture
Oh, you
of
have
that.
a picture of that there.
Well, no, that's Beverly Park.
Okay.
That's the
Look
Pecks.
how tall Gregory Peck is.
Well, and my mother's small anyway.
Yeah,
but-
she was tiny, but she was probably wearing high heels.
Yeah, so we
there.
have a lot of home movies from those days. There I am with Gregory Peck. You know, I mean, I can't say that I remember him really well other than he was just this big guy to me. You know, and of course I had seen him at that same time in that location in Colorado, and I'd seen him on the movie sets.
Your grandmother is holding you.
Grandmother's holding me.
Yeah.
My mom is standing with her back. And actually down on the ground there, that kid in the bottom there, I think that could be my cousin, Robbie Reynolds. See their picture? See down on the bottom behind my mom?
Yes.
I think that's my cousin. But yeah, we loved the Beverly Park, and that was another one of those casualties of modern development and expensive real estate near Beverly Hills. So yeah, fun times. Those,
There. I didn't know you had that tonight, but that it just is. What kid? And you love elephants, and of
are you
course
trying
I
to
love
tell me
elephants.
that everybody didn't have that?
Yeah, it seems not everybody has an elephant at their birthday party. No,
See,
I hate
didn't
to break
know
it
that
to you.
until I got to be like 60. Nobody told me. I thought every child had an elephant at their birthday party. I personally don't. This, first of all, was not a full-size elephant. I don't know if you can see
Oh
it.
no, it looks like a baby.
He's either a baby or maybe
Also,
a pygmy.
It looks like
might be a
almost
pygmy.
albino.
Now he was
he's
still
white.
big,
Yeah.
like big, but not full like African.
Well,
type
look at
Indian.
just keep on that picture for a second. I want everyone to notice
My mom in the right side.
that elephant has cheeks
Cheeks.
in the back. You see the little cheeks?
I know.
You know how I'm always saying our cats have cheeks?
No.
Yes, when they walk away from us, I'm like, Callie has cheeks, but that
wonder-
elephant has cheeks.
I'm looking at this picture, and in the right-hand corner is actually my mom and I. You see, I have a sort of a freaked out look on my face, and then my mom's got this huge smile, and then the guy's head that's just over the elephant, he's obviously the handler. But actually, this elephant had come to a few of my parties, and I'm not sure if it was at his request or not. Oh, there's my mom with you. Now you got the scale there, you see? Now you see the girl. Okay, so
Oh, your mom
John,
looks so happy.
what's his name? John. The kid on the right it was my friend. His name was John something or other. That's Gail, Uncle Bill's oldest daughter. She just passed away, standing over my mom.
Yep.
But yeah, so the elephant had made it to the Conway house as well. I have a picture of that same elephant at the Conway house. And then Carrie, never wanting to be outdone, actually got a giraffe at one of her parties. A full-size giraffe.
Well, I never saw anything like that when I was a kid, and so when I go to the state fairs, I always seek out the animals, and I love them. I've been an animal freak since I was a kid, and as you know, I have 30 here, and
Now, speaking
we're
of,
gonna have to do the giveaways because
Well,
guess
wait,
what?
here,
I
you
have to
hold
feed.
that.
I have to put the chickens to
But
bed.
look, so there's a really beautiful picture of my mother and Greg. A little bit faded. That was up in Debbie's Meadow. It says, "Dear Debbie, affectionately yours, Greg." Anyway, I mean that they make a pretty handsome couple. I will say that. It's good casting,
yeah.
don't you think they do?
Oh yes, absolutely.
So I think that's an important picture.
I didn't know we had show and tell. This is so great.
And we have another one right here. This one, I'll just let me do. So this is Jimmy Stewart with my mother. on How the West Won from a different sequence in the movie. This is the Erie Canal sequence earlier in the movie. And the funny thing about Jimmy Stewart is he would say, every time he'd see my mother, oh, Debbie, sing that little song for me. Yeah, you know. And then she would sing, away, away, come away with me, which is Greensleeves with different lyrics. But he loved that song, and he loved my mom, and they were good friends to the end. And
Jimmy Stewart was so great when people would come up and ask him for his autograph. Do you know
Yes.
what he did?
Harvey, right?
He did it for me. He sketched Harvey, the rabbit from the movie he was in, and I thought that was so clever. And there's a lot of them. You know, you'll probably see them on eBay.
It's not that. It's beyond clever. It's a message,
Yeah.
a life message. Jimmy Stewart, I knew him pretty good, and you know, he gave me a few life lessons, and a lot of it had to do with very simple stuff. I one time interviewed him. I got to find this, by the way. It's on 1-inch tape. It's going to be hard, but one day we got to transfer this. I have a one-on-one interview at the Henry Fonda Theater in L.A. when they christened that the Henry Fonda Theater. It's right on Hollywood Boulevard, down a little bit towards Western. And I interviewed Jimmy Stewart one-on-one in that theater by herself. And one of the questions I asked him is, what advice would you give to a young person like myself? Not an actor. I didn't say like some ethereal show business thing. Well, man's got to have a sense of values like country, community, a belief in God. I mean, it's like, and it wasn't some lame political statement. I mean, this guy was speaking from his heart about what made those were his roots. That is how he was who he was. So when he is sketching the little rabbit, he's giving you the happiness message of simplicity of life and all of that. I mean, the guy was just, you know, he was real. He was not pretentious. I met a lot of stars that acted like stars, very pretentious. He was just so real. My favorite story of Jimmy Stewart, we were filming at his house with Jack Lemmon and my mother. And we had a remote truck there. And we were filming in his den, and we'd run cables into the house through this door. And you remember the old shutters that, you know, you open like this? I still have them, of course, but these were like smaller ones. Well, they were rigging and de-rigging the cables, and they broke the shutters on his door. And I mean, I was mortified. Like, we damaged the guy's house. You know, I should know better of all people to, you know, filming on location of his house. I couldn't blame. I mean, you know, stuff happens, right? Oh, that's okay. You know, we'll go fix that. I was like, okay. Now, I don't have any idea what's about to happen, nor did my mother even know this, but in the basement of his house on Beverly Drive, and he had 2 lots there. One of the houses had fallen down in the 60s earthquake, and he bought the lot and turned it into a flower garden. Anyway, we go down into his basement. He's got a wood shop down there, like carpenter shop. All the tools, nicely organized, the whole thing. We laid out the shutters. I spent like an hour to 2 hours in Jimmy Stewart's basement doing woodworking with Jimmy Stewart.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, to me, it's like one of those, you know, in your life you say these are things that, it's not a defining moment because, you know, but memory-wise, it's really a great memory for me because I admired him so much. Having said that, what else do we have for show and tell? Oh, we have the costume sketch. So speaking of that song, Away, Away, Come Away With Me, this is my mother's costume sketch. We used to have the costume
that's so
as
pretty.
well.
Who was the
Walter Plunkett
Yep.
is the costume designer. Beautiful costume sketch. I never really collected costume sketches. It just sort of happened upon me over the years, and we have now done pretty good to have quite a few costume sketches. To me at this point, it's a good it's an important discipline within the whole movie making chain of arts, and it all begins with these costume sketches. So having said that, I think we've done, I guess I need that picture, Kat.
Which one?
Right there.
This one?
Just hold that one up right in my camera. Turn it. There you go. So this one, if you've been to my house and you've seen this picture, this is Carrie and I looking at my mother, who is now, I'm going to hide behind the picture so it focuses on, move it over a little so we want it to focus. Yeah. That's Carrie and I looking at my mother, who's now 70 years old. And we'd never seen our mother
You mean made
old.
up to be 70 years
Yes.
old? Yeah.
She's 30, but they made her to be 70 and we're freaking out. And there's a whole series of pictures. That's one of my favorite little sequences. So we have that costume on display in our house. You can put it down.
Yeah.
And we have a little slideshow of all the pictures of Carrie and I with her at that time. So that would have been another time when we're on the MGM lot and they're filming the final sequence. Now, at that point, when that is being filmed, Gregory Peck has died and they're auctioning off her house and she's starting all over again at 70 years old. Ironically, that's exactly what happened to my mother. Right?
Yeah.
She was in
That's
her late,
really strange,
she was
but
in
yes,
her
it is.
60s, and we were having an auction at the hotel, selling off the artifacts after her husband. Now,
Fleeced her.
fleeced her. He left her in a different way. Gregory Peck, in the movie passes away allegedly, but in real life, of course, she got in financial trouble because of her husband. And I mean, so a lot of times my mother's life seems to emulate these films.
Yes.
I don't know really why that is.
Gosh, that would be a nightmare for me if my life emulated my characters. They were.
I offset all that negative shit.
It's never happened. Okay, let's give away stuff.
No, we want to talk about.
Well, do you want to talk about what we're planning on doing with those, Todd?
With what?
The costume sketch.
Well, what are we playing? I forgot about that.
This is news to me
so
too.
Seth you don't know anything about this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we were chatting about costume sketches the other day, and then we were also saying, a lot of these can be very expensive. Like, you might find a costume sketch that you could get that's not this elaborate. You could get maybe for a few $100s. But when they're signed and they're really well painted, they're thousands of dollars. So I had this idea. No, it wasn't me, really. It was Seth, and everybody was just
Well, it was, we will find out when we officially announce this on the studio store. We'll give proper credit to where it's due. Someone emailed us, one of our viewers who might
That's
be here
what it
tonight.
was. Do you know who it was?
I don't, but if you keep talking, I can try to find out.
No. It's not important. We'll figure it out. But here's the thing. That's what it was. You said, we had this email from a person who knows that you have a lot of sketches and they can't afford to buy a sketch, but would I ever consider putting these in a little book, like our little postcard book, like we did with the costumes?
Doing legit size scan reprints of these.
Well, I was thinking not to make them necessarily full size. I guess we could do both. You could do full size. I was thinking about the postcard set, like we did with Debbie's costumes.
Yeah, but the reason you'd want it full size is you would frame it and put it on your
I
wall.
would do that, 'cause
Yeah,
I think
I
it's a
think most
beautiful
people
piece
would
of-
do
Well,
that.
Seth, I think you're well connected. You might be able to.
But I know the company that could make it look exactly like that.
It's like you said, it's a high res scan.
Yeah.
But at any rate, I think I'd like to hear from you guys if you're interested in that. And let me know what you would want. But I think maybe both. You could create a little book like this that would have all Debbie's costume sketches in it and pictures of the costumes where we might have the costume next to the costume sketch. That's pretty cool too.
Yes.
Now
But I do think there's something to the
Maybe doing
costume
both.
sketches that size, and
It's an art print.
it's an art print, and it's also I'm my mind tonight. It's also around the picture, the
Matt.
Yes, that is very. I felt like I was on the $25,000 pyramid for just a second.
I got
You
it.
did
Yeah,
good on that.
you did, and you did well.
Thank you.
I think we're in the winner's circle.
I don't get no money, but I got.
Speaking of a sale, though, of real costume sketches, we did want to show one, because if you go right now to the Debbie Reynolds Studio Store page, DebbieReynoldsStudioStore.com is what it is. We have a real live costume sketch from Debbie. I'll show it, or do you want to show it? We have a real live costume sketch of Debbie's that is actually for sale, straight from her bedroom here in Vegas.
Oh wow, which one is this?
Susan slept here.
Susan slept here. Yes, that is so great.
So,
that's the original.
right. So what happens here is we have, I think, maybe 4 costume sketches. This was Michael Wolf, who I have a great interview with. George, with the choreographer Bob Sidney. They're both old guys. I'm interviewing the two of them together, and they're telling Debbie stories. It's fantastic. But he was a fantastic costume designer and did Susan Slept Here. with Dick Powell, which was an amazing thing for my mother to be in a movie with Dick Powell. Had an incredible history, great comedy timing, wonderful he's not underrated, but maybe he is in today's world. Anyway, this says Debbie Reynolds, Susan slept here 1954. So it's a year she's meeting my dad, and it's hand signed. Now, you see what I was saying is there's a big difference between these two things. You see, this is much more artsy.
Yeah.
Was done after the fact, whereas this is a production sketch.
Yeah, that was what they
this
showed the
was
producers.
so popular they decided to, do essentially a signed lithograph in a manner of speaking.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's more than one of those or not. There could be.
So look on the screen. So that's the wrong costume sketch. That's for sale, clearly. But you're looking to spend behind you.
Well, I mean, so I was just showing an example. No, I was just showing it. That's the one for sale, right? Yes. Okay, so let's do this. So this costume sketch that's up right now, that's the one that's literally for sale up on, and then you could see where it was hanging in my mother's room. But what happened is I had to make room for a couple of different movies, so it allowed me to free up one. I think we have 4 different sketches from this movie, and that's one of them. So if somebody wants a hardcore item, this is where you're getting into serious collecting when you get up into these things. Like you could find a lesser sketch that wouldn't have been signed by the artist and things like that. You might find those as well, and they could be just a few $100s. But as you start to get into, costume sketches, in this case, these are original penned or painted pieces plus all handwritten notes on what's called onion skin, because they were not intended to be kept for 70 years,
yes.
80 years. So anyway, it's something that's kind of interesting. So that's all available on the Debbie Reynolds Studio Store site. We do these other claim sales and things, but these are just up all the time. What else do you have up there that you can show us, Ryan? Anything? We have some other items that we thought, my mother's nose when she does her Barbra Streisand impression. That's a pretty wild one. Yeah, so
she had that made, right?
Right. So this is made of a latex material by prosthetic people from the studio that made her so she could look like Barbra Streisand. So the nose is pretty cool.
She was so good in that impression.
And and then we had last week we put up the gold leaf gown. Was that what was the designer on that? Do you remember?
It doesn't say.
Okay, so no one bought that last week, and I offered it at a discount. So that's still available at a discount. It's a really cool piece. And this was worn on television shows. We still have Debbie Reynolds dance studio floor pieces. The one with Rip Taylor did not sell. Although, if you want the dance studio floor with a dance studio frame piece, we do have other, do we not, framed. So there are more Debbie Reynolds dance studio pieces. So if you haven't seen any of our studio store stuff, there's some cool stuff available for sale. Kat has stuff too. You see all these nude pictures of Kat? We have those right there. Look, I see flesh.
Yeah, that was a magazine shoot.
Well, I don't care what you call it. She looks naked to me.
Yeah.
And look at that bathing suit copy. I may want to,
I was just trying to think of who took that picture of me without a shirt on and those jeans. It was in New York. I know that. I think it was Robert Malazzo.
I think, you know how I like to redo things?
Yes.
Like I just went up to Debbie's Meadow. I'd like to redo that shoot. And I'm the photographer.
The jeans are right on her already.
The
That's
jeans,
right.
And we do the whole thing. We don't show anything too much, but I think I'm entitled.
That's about as much as...
I'm entitled.
Yeah.
Just saying. There you go. I want to
That picture to me, that was shot
pretty.
by a French... No, that actually... The makeup was done by a French makeup artist. She was incredible. And it was a very famous photographer. But look at the colors in that. And back in those days, they didn't have AI and stuff to change colors and make the water look like that. That was absolutely the shot as it was. And it was for a magazine I was on the cover of, actually. But that picture was one of the outtakes. so that someone sent me, but I love that picture for the color alone.
So we have some cat items that live on the site. We have Debbie items and we have Carrie items.
Yep.
Now, do you have the new Carrie items?
We also have Todd items for $1,000. We will sell you.
Wait,
his
wait, wait,
pants,
let me
and
get
he
you
will
on camera.
autograph
What
them
is
for
it?
you. Your baggy, your famous. Someone was talking about your loose jeans that you love to wear. Your jean pants.
Oh yeah, you have no butt in these jeans. And I've
Sag.
never.
They
Yeah, but I've
sag.
never.
So we will sell those for $1,000, and Todd will autograph them right where they sag.
But
for you.
it's so funny because I'm thinking,
Call.
what jeans are these? Because the jeans that
Well,
I
yeah, I'm not sure
started
we're
to buy
talking about.
you, it was just
Your work
kind of,
jeans.
yeah.
Oh, well,
you know
that's
that.
it. Well, I will say that it's not that I have no butt, I have no hips. So my pants just fall off.
Yeah.
So that's why I wear this belt all the time. This one is kind of stretchy and it pulls in, tries to keep things up my hips, what there are of them. Oh, what have you got there? You got a cool picture there? Oh, it just happens to be there. Okay. So it's still on preview. All right. So having said that, we've covered the studio store. We also would mention that if you're digging some of these clips and you want to see the unedited or longer versions of things, they'll all end up on our Patreon site where you can be a member at different levels and get into different depths of the archives. And how many items are actually on that Patreon site?
Quite a few right now. If you go to patreon.com, we're still getting back in the groove of things, so we will have some of the raw unedited footage, like from the Molly Brown house and from Uray, Colorado, up in the next, hopefully the next 2 weeks, because we're getting the swing of things here. But on Patreon, if you go to our site, you literally can access.
Here, he's showing it right now.
I'll talk over while you show that. You literally can access our digital archives that we are unearthing. And it's really cool because what this is it allows you guys, I mean, I personally can tell you, I don't have much to watch these days on TV. There's not so much cool stuff streaming right now. And you can go on here and literally spend your weekend binging our Patreon channel.
Oh yeah, we have
where
an
you
amazing
can find hours and
Patreon.
hours of really cool footage from the archives of Carrie, of Debbie, of Todd, of Kat, the whole family. And it's really a great way to find these.
So there is a
great
lot
clips.
there.
There's a lot there. And if you're a Tier 1 member, it allows you to have access of some smaller clips. But if you're more serious about this kind of stuff, which I recommend getting Tier 2, mainly because you get longer versions of everything. You get 30 minutes to an hour versions of all these fantastic interviews, performances, videos. And we're also talking about some really cool stuff to put up there and as well to incorporate on the live show here through the end of the year. So it's a really great site. It's called Behind the Stage Doors with Kat and Todd on Patreon. Behind the Stage Doors.
That's perfect. Can we give away stuff now?
Yeah, but we've actually we actually went for different items this week, right?
We did?
Well,
I never know what we're giving away
Well,
until I
what
give
we
them.
started to do is trying to make it consistent, right? We had like one item for the whole 4 giveaways, but now you got different stuff. Is that true? Yeah, different stuff. All right, so I'll let Seth explain what the giveaways are.
Well, is it on me? Oh, wonderful. Hi again, America. I'm Kathy Lee Gifford. So what we have for the giveaway, well, keeping with our theme today, we have some really great stills from our archive. So you can see we have Debbie in her stage Western wear from when she did Annie Get Your Gun, as well as her act that she had a Western segment in. And then we have these really great stills of John Wayne from our archives as well that we are going to be giving away. Now, you will get one of these stills with your prize. It'll be a still of Debbie, this Western still of Debbie, excuse me here, and then one of these stills of John Wayne, as well as a Annie Get Your Gun program, because there will be some artifacts in this program that are going to be on display at the Ronald Reagan Library Western exhibit.
Including that very outfit.
Yep,
Your
in the
finger
front.
is on right now.
So that's what you'll be getting tonight for our regular giveaway winners. And then when we get to the Super Wheel, we will announce what they're getting then.
Okay, so there are 4 winners?
4.
Okay, here we go. Kyle's got the wheel. And here we go. Wiener number 1 will be John Hostetler. Oh, I love John. I do. He just texted me today. I'll get back to everybody. It's been a heck of a week.
Hats too.
I know. Congratulations, John. And the next winner is Marcy Carnaggio. Marcy Carnaggio, you are a wiener. And number 3. If anyone wins tonight, when you get your, would you please email us at catandtoddlive@gmail.com. Make sure we have your address. Oh, boy. Mary Charmaine Belcastro.
Say that 5 times fast.
Mary Charmaine, Mary Charmaine, Mary Charmaine, Mary
With the
Charmaine.
last name.
Belcastro.
Is that
Okay.
a new person?
It's
No,
Italian.
no. I think she's been with us for a while.
I never saw her name winning.
Well,
though.
you know what, though? Here, yes, maybe.
Look at that.
Oh, now I've seen that name before.
John Greer. Oh, congratulations,
Just what
John.
he needs, more
More
stuff.
Hey, you know what? He's got that museum going. He can use all the stuff
Well,
that he
you know
can,
what?
he
With
could
John,
get.
you can even ask him if he doesn't have a particular picture. We'll customize it for him.
Yes. All right. And I think
That was 4.
that was 4.
Super wheel time.
Super Wheel. Okay, for those of you who donated last week, on the side, you see people make donations on the side of the chat. So the people who donated last week, your name is on this wheel. So the wheel is much smaller, and you have a greater chance to win. You will also, at the end of the show tonight, see your name on the production crawl at the credits on our show when it's over. And if you donated tonight, you will be on next week's Super Wheel. So thank you so much. As you know, we really appreciate them, and all the money goes towards the production of the show, also legacy projects that we have here. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We really appreciate it. Let's spin the Super Wheel. And here we go. This is always an exciting wheel. Here we go. It is Sherry King by a hair. Wow, that was close. Sherry King, congratulations. Now let's see what you have won. Go ahead, Seth.
Well, first off, before I announce what she's won, I just want to say a lot of people are commenting for Nugget. So
Oh, thank you so much. I so appreciate
their
it. I
love for that.
really, really do. Thank you very much.
And what you have won, Shari, well, this is what I was thinking, by the way, to do with those costume sketches. But you've won 2 Frank Worth prints. and
Wow.
Keeping in the cowboy phase of James Dean on the set of Giant. And these are just fantastic prints because they're really, you can frame them in your house and they're really gorgeous works of art. They're directly from the Frank Worth estate. So from the original prints, these are lithograph prints of those.
No, they're not lithographs.
Or excuse me,
they're
not
photo
lithographs,
prints.
Sorry, film
Yep.
prints.
Yep.
Excuse me. And so they're 2 really gorgeous prints. So they're a great super prize.
That is an amazing super prize, actually. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you. That's great. All right, so that concludes. I'm going to run out to the chicken pens because they're probably already put themselves away, but I have to go kiss the bellies. And so we want to say,
I don't even get that
on
treatment.
behalf of Ryan
I
Clements.
don't even get my belly, and
Yes.
it's getting bigger too. There's plenty to kiss there, but it doesn't. I don't think I've ever had my belly kissed that I can recall.
On behalf of Ryan
She didn't
Clements,
want to touch
Kyle
that with a
Hinton,
10-foot pole.
Todd Fisher, I'm not touching that. You cannot set me up. No, you cannot. I might have been born yesterday, baby, but I stayed up all night, right? On Seth Robert Show, thank you so much. We appreciate you. We look forward to our Saturday nights with you. Thank you, thank you. And for those of you, if you have not liked or subscribed to our show, please give it a moment to do so, and it means a ton to us. Thank you very, very much. We love you. I'll be seeing you on my Facebook. I'll be doing a lot of lives this week because we're having a sale at catcosmetics.com. That's catcosmetics.com. 30% off everything. And the code for that at checkout is the word everything. That's all you have to put in, and you get 30% off. So I'm doing a lot of lives this week. Thank you very much. We love you, and we'll see you next week.
There it goes.
Lily! Thank you.